because of gang violence, which I've talked about already in this interview. The way we need to think about this is about efficiency in our police, in our public safety departments. That means police and fire need to be working together more. Then we need to look at more community-based solutions, right? Then we also need to invite our community, so we actually have members within the communities that are actually engaging in public safety, right? In order for efficiency, we need to make sure that cops, police officers, are less behind the desk and more in their communities. We also need to look at blended training. We need to look at having firefighters understand some of the skill set of police officers and police officers learning some of the skill set of firefighters. Angelenos deserve a more integrated approach to public safety. When there's an issue, they call 911. They don't call just the police department or the fire department. Now, there's no magic number of amount of police officers. In fact, the crime trends have gone down across the country, not because of more police officers, because of other factors. Now, I know that crime across the city going down doesn't mean that crime is gone, right? It's hard to, when you talk to a family who lost a son because of crime, because of gang violence, that crime is down. They don't understand that. What they want to know is that we increase the positive outlets and that we're engaging in really creating strategies for targeting the highest crime areas so that we have a more localized plan for public safety in those areas. Lastly, as mayor, I'll create an organizing fellowship where we have more community members stepping out and being present and leaders in their communities so that they are extensions of our public safety departments, because public safety should be responsible of everyone, not just our police officers. Like there's no secret of how I feel about a pension reform, because that's what we first need to do so we stop cutting costs in the fire department. That's number one. But in terms of addressing these issues, look, this was a data and technology issue. This was lack of oversight. Our elected officials could have figured this out a long time ago, that the fire department was reporting numbers in a certain way that wasn't real. And that's what folks found out. Look, I've been in a data company. I've actually sold data services to public safety departments across the country, fire and police. And we need to make sure that we're deep in this data, or that there's someone within the mayor's office that actually understands the data so that we aren't waiting years to figure out some of the issues in our fire department or police departments. Right? Then we need to be looking at what I mentioned before, blended training, where we're looking at one approach to public safety, where it's not like, let's cut fire department because police department's about crime. We need to have a fundamental different approach to how we look at public safety. And the fire department needs to be integral to that approach so that we're better using our resources, that public safety is more accessible, and that we're using technology and data so that they are providing the services in a better way for the protection of all Angelenos. Like first of all, the Occupy movement was a sign of kind of greater kind of distress in our society, because the Occupy movement didn't come out as just one platform on policy. It came out because they were unhappy with the way things were going writ large, right? It was about the 99% of folks in this country who felt that the 1% were getting the greatest benefits from anything that was happening, right? Now, I want to make sure that we allow more of these, the folks that feel voiceless, the folks that feel that that their solutions aren't being heard, for those voices to rise. That's why I'm running for mayor, is for those communities that feel the most voiceless, whether it's because of poverty or because of proximity to City Hall. You know, you could be in the West San Fernando Valley and middle class, but your voice could never be heard because City Hall is so far away. You could be in South LA, and because you have no political power and you don't have a job and you don't have any influence, that your voice doesn't get heard. That's why I'm running for mayor. So the Occupy movement is about that, is make sure that we have more of those voices heard. And they did a great job in terms of creating a movement that is aligned across the country, in fact, around the world. Now, the thing is, you also need to sustain movements, right? And I need to make sure that we are sustaining the opportunities, the responsibility of City Hall and government to be responsive to its people. That's what we need to sustain. If the government was doing the job, if its politicians were doing this job, then the Occupy movement would have never even started. My mom is a labor union member. She's part of Local 99 SEIU. I understand the value of organized labor. I understand the value of workers being able to organize and advocate for themselves, for their rights. Now, when a union is not really representing their workers and more advocating so that the union could grow bigger, right? That's when there's a misalignment. And someone needs to be able to cut through the fat and see that and call folks out. And look, I want to make sure that all workers can have better advocacy tools and have the right to collective bargaining so that people like my mom have the benefits that they deserve. But I don't want my mom to be overpromised. I don't want my mom to think the union told me X, but yet 10 years later, now I don't have that X that they told me. And I have come across countless amounts of people in this city that feel that they were lied to and overpromised, and that's not right. And labor needs to understand that, right? Because I come from a place of labor. My household is a labor household. I understand that because, again, I've come from that place. I understand the private sector. I understand where the economy is moving. And I want to make sure that labor continues strong so that workers continue having the right advocacy tools, but also that we are realistic and that going forward, just because you're a labor union member doesn't mean that you should have better benefits than everyone else. We need to be looking at all Angelenos. We need to be looking at the folks that aren't being represented by labor and making sure that they also have rights and the benefits that they deserve. That's my approach as mayor, is to be a mayor for all Angelenos and making sure labor, along with all the other stakeholders, are brought to the table to come up with the best solutions for the city.
And now, Emanuel's closing comments.
March 5th is a moment where we're going to be at a crossroads. We either can continue going in the same direction or going with something new, something that actually works. Electing a mayor that comes from a different place, from a place where I understand firsthand the problems of our city, but I've also been trained and prepared to provide the solutions that the city needs, and I have the courage to take on any challenge. That's why I've been walking the streets for the last 6 months, engaging people in a respectful way so that Angelenos realize the choice that we have. I invite you to join my campaign, be part of the change that Los Angeles needs, and ensure that anyone of any background, people that could come from an immigrant background in a single-parent home and go off to Stanford like myself and be able to come back and address the problems in their communities, that anyone, whatever their story, can contribute to this city. I need you to be part of this, not because of me, but because the future of this city depends on us. So join me March 5th. Look me up, pleitez4la.com, facebook.com/Pleitez. I'm on all the social platforms, and I'm engaging people so that we really make an educated choice on March 5th and take our city to the new heights that it deserves, to realize its potential, because the issues are serious. The bankruptcy looming is serious, and we need to address that, and we need someone who understands these problems and solutions firsthand. That's what I bring to the table. Thank you for listening to me, and I look forward to working together.
And that's it for this broadcast. We thank you for joining us here on Newswire LA. And remember to follow everything Newswire LA. Look us up on Facebook and Twitter at Newswire LA. We'll see you back here next time, and good night. Stay tuned for more news on this Westlake Signal station.